You are now tuned into Flippin the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 52 of Flippin the Bird, presented by Philly Sports Network. I'm Brian Cameron. He's Chris Infante.
Yo, you drunk right now?
I am not drunk, but you know what it is?
Because you just said flipping the bird. First of all, we're flipping the birds. We have multiple birds here.
I'm so bad. In my notes, I have your name as Christ Infante.
Christ. Listen.
Wait, so I'm assuming we're keeping this.
I can't. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with it. It's been a long night.
It's been a very long night. For those of you tuning in, we were supposed to have ESP on. For those of you that were very angry about that, we had some people, why are you having him on? Listen, everybody, he's an insider. He's been
actually has valid information.
Yeah, he's been in training camp. No matter what you feel about the guy, we all have our opinions about him, if he could hit a home run or not and score a touchdown. We were going to get into that with him today, but my daughter, my 8-month-old, who turns 9 months next week, is going through some crazy teething, crazy sleep regression.
That's the worst time.
And our routine is bath at 7. We read a book together around 7:15, 7:30, bottle, and then around 7:45, 7:50, I put her in her crib. She's knocked out. 7:50 comes around, I put her in, she wakes up, and she's just looking at me like, hey, and then she gets up, and then I take her up, and I'm rocking her back and forth, and I put her in again at 8:15, and she looks at me like, hey, and okay, and then so I do it again, and I pick her up, and I rock her back and forth, and then I put her back in like 8:45, and she looks at me like, hey, and okay, so I go get her Tylenol, and I give her some more bottle, and I shove it down her throat, not really, don't call CPS on me, and I rock her back and forth, and now she's in her crib for at least another maybe hour until she wakes up and pisses me off again.
Well, I guess that kind of crunches our time down, but hey, welcome to fatherhood at the end of the day. And you have a perfect drink in your hands. Enjoy the drink. Let's talk Eagles. Training camp is at its peak. It's almost towards the finish line where Eagles coaching staff needs to know who they have and who they're going with and who they're not going with. So I figured we talk about
cuts.
Stock watch.
Yes, Friday's cuts.
So
no. Yes, it is September 4th.
Technically, it is
September 4th. Yes.
So stock up, stock down. We did this last season, so I figured we touch upon it again. We were gonna touch on it with ESP, but obviously life happens at the end of the day.
Cameron messed that up.
It's okay. It happens, man.
The first thing I'm gonna blame her.
I mean, she owes me a drink if we want to talk about it.
She owes me a lot more than that. She already owes me her life.
All right, so let's get into it. Guys, if this is the first time you're listening to us, or if you're a regular, please make sure you subscribe to us, whether you're watching or you're listening to. And please, if you can, leave a review, whether it's good or bad. We accept it all. But let's get to it. Eagles stock up, Eagles stock down. Sidney Jones. I'll let you take the floor first with that.
Why? Because I've been the biggest Sidney Jones hype train person.
Absolutely not. Because we're in the same boat. I'm on that boat with you. I'm paddling on that boat with you. But it feels like we're paddling in circles right now because he's hamstrung.
No, we're paddling down a river without an oar right now. Like we've been on this rapids for a long time. We've been on a raft for Sidney Jones, the Sidney Jones Rapids, and it's like nice calm rapids when he deflects the pass over Michael Gallup. And it ends this Cowboys season, and we're like, all right, see what he can do when he's healthy. And we see these videos of him during the off season, of him standing on a medicine ball with one foot, and he sees all these balance things, and he's jumping on box jumps that are 15 feet up in the air, not really, but it seems like it. And he's doing all this, and he's doing interviews like he's pissed off at how he played, and he wants to show that he's a different player, and then he hasn't been practicing because of lower body injuries. They aren't at this point. They are not specific that everybody's a lower body injury or upper body injury or illness.
Yeah.
Stop copying me.
I'm not copying. I'm finishing your
Jesus
sentences.
Christ.
That's what great co-hosts do. Okay.
Shit.
Listen.
Don't copy me.
We're original on this side, all right? Don't forget that.
I just realized I need a haircut. You can see all my grays. So
Focus.
I'm tired, man. And then Jim Schwartz comes out and says we can coach the guys that we got here, and time's running out. So the stock is in the toilet.
It's completely down. You're saying it's down the drain, or is it just that needs to be flushed? Period.
Right now, Sidney Jones, that dump you just took, and it's just floating there, and you haven't pressed flush yet. It's just floating, and you're waiting to see if you have to go again before you flush, or if you're just gonna flush it right now. So he's floating around right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded. I don't think he's gonna be cut. I think they can still get something. I think you could still get something for him, like a player for player. Like look around the league and find a team that needs to take a gamble on cornerback depth, that has depth at other positions that the Eagles might need. The Cardinals, I keep saying the Cardinals because they just signed Draker Patrick just not like a few days ago because they have cornerback depth issues. They have an abundance of linebackers. Hassan Reddick, Mr. Temple, from Philly, swap. I've been banging the table for Reddick to help out this linebacking core. There's a void in linebacking right now. With the Brown retirement, I know he probably wasn't doing much, but still, it's a body that's gone. Bring Reddick in to see what he can do. He's another really athletic linebacker. He fits the profile of what Jim Schwartz has been wanting in a linebacker. We see it in Jerry. We see it in Davion Taylor. We see it in Sean Bradley. We see it in TJ. Not TJ Edwards, not so much because TJ Edwards is more of a big guy.
I love TJ.
But TJ Edwards
is a bulldozer.
TJ Edwards is like the first like actual Mike linebacker we've had since probably the Miko Ryans.
Okay.
And because since then the Mikes we've had, Nigel Bradham.
Hicks wasn't bad.
Jordan Hicks, yeah. Okay. Jordan Hicks. Nigel Bradham was more of a Sam than a Mike. Jordan Hicks. Okay, since Jordan Hicks. I forgot about
But Hicks started his career with a bang.
Yeah, and then he also hit with bangs to his body too. So like we really haven't had that middle linebacker since Hicks. Before that was the Miko Ryans. Before that was probably Stuart Bradley. Before that was probably Jeremiah Trotter. We really haven't had that consistent middle linebacker impact. And TJ Edwards looks like he's going to be that guy. But with it around him, the blitzing linebackers, we got to go get Reddick.
I completely agree with that statement. I think it's a good idea if the Eagles do or can pull off a player-for-player trade. I mean, just looking at Sidney Jones, 24 years old, has only played 22 games, started only 8 of them, 2 interceptions, 10 pass deflections, 50 total tackles. It has to be the end of the line. I mean, they re-signed Trevor Williams, who they waived a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, like the writing is on the wall. Yeah. Stop copying me, damn it! Listen, that's that second time.
It's you know what it is? Everything's just original.
Jesus Christ! But when like that's what it's like. I'm kind of interested in these new like signings. Is where you bring Trevor Williams back. So obviously something's going on.
Probably has to go. Yes, 7 cornerbacks right now.
Sidney Jones, and then you bring in Fulgham, the new wide receiver.
That's more of a camp body though. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey,
I mean,
I know he's our next guy, but don't do it.
I mean, no, I would say that for the next guy, and then you bring in Swoops because of Josh Perkins, but then you're looking at Noah. I know we with Liam we learned how to pronounce his last name.
It's Togai or something like that.
Togai, right? So whatever. So you have him. You have Caleb Wilson. I know Josh Perkins is out probably for a while. So you have him. So I just found the issue with Fulgham. I know we're gonna get that they cut Casey Tucker line. You cut offensive line depth for another wide receiver. So I know, and you want to say camp bodies or whatever, but you still have camp bodies at wide receivers. If Alshon's coming sooner than later, and maybe you don't pup list him. If you don't pup list him, you got to keep him on active roster. So let's say he's not pupped.
So I have a question about that real quick. So if Alshon, just correct me if I'm wrong. If Alshon's on the pup list, is he still taking a roster spot?
No,
because I feel like somebody came out and said that he's still taking a roster spot even though he's on pup.
I'm pretty sure Brandon Brooks will not count.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure. But okay, let's say he doesn't go on the pup, and let's say the pup list. It says pup list. Players can be moved off the pup list to the active roster.
Okay, so he doesn't count as a roster spot.
No.
All right.
So let's say he doesn't go on the pup. Alshon, Deshaun, Rager, Ward, having a phenomenal camp.
Quez.
Hightower, Quez, that's 6.
Yeah.
JJ, 7. Fulgham, 8. So there's 8 wide receivers there. So obviously you're probably going to keep 6. So if Alshon is not going to be pupped, Alshon, Deshaun, Rager, Ward, Watkins. I'd say right now it's probably Watkins over Hightower.
I think it's Hightower over Watkins, though.
I think Watkins is – Hightower has been missing a lot of camp also.
Because of the illness thing.
Illnesses and stuff, but Watkins has been
false positives, right?
I know. Watkins has been showing out.
He's quick.
Play.
He's really quick.
And then you got JJ. That's 6.
Okay, so speaking of JJ, we're talking wide receivers. We left Sidney Jones in the toilet.
Sidney Jones
Let's talk JJ.
Is floating around in the toilet right now.
So JJ Arcega-Whiteside injured for most of 2019. He went from missing the game-winning touchdown against Detroit to making some pretty good catches down the stretch. I mean, he had that under catch towards the sideline. He had that big catch against the Cowboys. He feels rejuvenated. He actually came out saying, second time around, I hate to say that I know all the plays, but there's going to be a day or two where I have a mental error, but I'm pretty confident in the plays. I don't go into practice with a script in my hand trying to memorize the plays that I have. I'm just like, I'm in the huddle. You call the play. I know what I got to do. Now I can play faster. I can play more confidently and show everybody what I can do instead of trying to do the right thing. Are we actually going to see the Stanford JJ? Because he's looked crisp in camp so far from what everybody's been, saying. He's been making acrobatic catches. He looks like, he's running the routes better. He looks a little bit quicker as well. Does JJ really, stand out in this crowd? Because it's a crowded wide receiver position, like you just mentioned.
For the first time in a while.
Yeah, that's a good thing, actually, right?
So I just released, I think last week or a week before, my bold predictions for the Eagles offense. And if you haven't read it yet, I hate you. I had Carson Wentz throwing for 5,000 yards.
Okay.
And I listed all the wide receivers' stats. And only one person pointed out. Said, wow, JJ Arcega-Whiteside is going to have 0 yards. I said, someone caught it. And this was before the JJ, catching everything. And it was when he was, never at practice.
Okay.
So now he's been showing out. I'll give it to him. But I just, if JJ was truly drafted to be Alshon's replacement, and we're really going to go out and trust Doug Peterson's comments, which we should never do.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's going to be tough for JJ to get out there when Alshon's on the field.
Okay.
Alshon is closer than what we expect to returning. Is JJ going to see the field? If Alshon's there, it's Deshaun on one side, Alshon on the other, and Rager in the slot. With Watkins backing up Deshaun.
But what if Rager and Ward in the slot is looking too good to really mess with? Do you honestly think Peterson would say, "Hey, Alshon's back, he's just starting"? What if those are looking too damn good? If
Alshon's back and healthy, if he's the healthy Alshon Jeffrey, no matter how many times he's going to go talk to Josina Anderson on the side, if he's the healthy Alshon Jeffrey, he starts over Greg Ward.
See, that's what makes me go crazy because it sucks that we couldn't get ESP on this sound pod. But he did put out that Wentz has targeted
Ward like crazy.
Just like he targets Ertz. It's that trust factor is there, and that's something we haven't had in Alshon.
This might open up more 11 personnel sets.
Okay.
You know, I know the Eagles love 12 personnel. I love 12 personnel. I love 13
You
personnel.
love everything
I love
above 12.
I'm hoping that they claim swoops just so they can have Ertz Goddard, Togai swoops.
Just all tight ends.
Just heavy set, and then when swoops gets the touchdown, we can say he just swooped in for the touchdown.
Swoop, there it is.
Catch it on, see. But I think we can see more wide receiver sets where you have Alshon, Ward,
Okay.
Rager, Deshaun.
But then you only have one tight end in.
And then you have Zach Ertz or Dallas Goddard switching in and out. Miles Benton. I think this is going to allow for a lot more creativity. Stop it!
You saw that. That was so
Jesus
natural.
Christ.
That was phenomenal. Come on. That was natural. That was phenomenal.
Stop it. Stop.
Standing ovation real quick. Come on.
No, kiss my ass. So they finally can be creative rather than the defense is being like, oh, yeah, we know what they're doing right now. It's 3rd and 10. We know what they're doing. They can do whatever they want. They can even throw Hurts out there to slot. You know, and
who's Hurts?
They're 3rd.
Oh, Jalen. I thought maybe you were slurring and you're thinking about Zach. I forgot about Jalen. This isn't a quarterback conversation, all right? Let's stick to wide receiver, right? Let's stick to JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Stock up or stock down? Don't avoid the question. I'm going to stock up.
Stock.
Neutral. Okay. That's understandable. Okay. I'll go stock up.
I know he's been nice when he's been out there, but that's when he's been out. Like, he hasn't really been out there. So I feel like he needs to be out there more than,
okay.
Because if these young guys, if Hightower and Watkins and Ward, even Ward,
I love Hightower and Watkins.
showing out while JJ's not even he's not even out there. How I can't see. I know he was a second-round pick last year.
JJ for the red zone.
I know you could use.
He's a big body for the red zone.
You use Watkins for the red zone. The first few practices, Wentz was targeting Watkins in the red zone.
How tall is Watkins?
Tall.
He's like 6.
No,
6'5".
He's taller than that.
Or 6'1".
He is 6 feet.
Okay, JJ's what? 6'2", 6'3"?
JJ Arcega is 6'2".
6'2", and he's experienced in the acrobatic 50-50 catches. Like, why would you not want to have that on the field?
Or you can have Watkins, who's a bullet train, and could just speed past linebackers trying to catch him, and then boom.
But it's crowded
instead of hoping that here, JJ, don't drop this one.
Okay, so to recap, we're stock down on Sidney. You're neutral on JJ. I'm stock up on JJ.
You're only stock up on JJ because you just wrote an article about JJ. So
Absolutely not.
You don't want to contradict what you say.
No, I'm sold on JJ, but there is a strong possibility that he can't stand out in this crowded group. There's a very strong possibility that I'm 100% wrong. But in my heart,
there's always a strong possibility.
Don't you start
that you're 100% wrong.
All right, let's move on. Malik Jackson played one game last season. He looked pretty good in that game. Hasn't played since. Now is part of a defensive tackle group that has Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, which should give anybody chills because that's 4 very, very good defensive tackles.
I think Ridgeway is a little hurt. I think.
Is he hurt already?
I think
he just came back from an injury.
Or maybe because they just signed. They're about to sign.
T.Y. McGill.
Yeah, T.Y. McGill. Who I feel like my thing is he only played 2 games with the Eagles.
Who?
In 2018, McGill. In 2018, but if you're about to try out for a team, which he was about to, he was at Detroit, and then Howie was like, "Yo, we got a contract.
What are you doing in Detroit? You should be in Philly.
Yo, what? You just got rerouted? What's going on? Is that Spirit Airlines that they just messed up your whole shit right there? You come to Philly. I feel like if Howie said we have a contract, come over, see, maybe we could stash you on the practice squads. If he wasn't pretty much guaranteed, like, listen, there's a roster spot for you, why would he be like, no, I'm not going to try out for a team while I'm already here in Detroit? Screw you, Patricia, I'm out. I feel like
they have on in rotation last season. They had Cox, they had Jackson.
I feel like we should have really count.
I guess, yeah.
Jackson.
So they have Jackson, they have Cox, Hector, Ridgeway.
Rush, Dixon.
Okay. Rush and Dixon. So that's 4.
Well, I'll tell you right now. So last on.
By the way, we had to segue back to Malik Jackson, just so you remember.
Shut up.
I think training camp had you very excited.
We had Jernigan.
Okay.
Cox.
Jernigan, yes.
We had Cox, Rush. We had Higgins. And we had someone else, I forgot.
Hector.
And Bruce Hector, yeah. So the depth chart on December 1st was that, and then on January 1st it was Hector, Jernigan, Cox, Rush, Higgins was around there. So like 4 or 5. So right now you're looking at Jackson, Hargrave, Cox, Ridgeway if he's healthy.
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go.
And the good thing about Jackson is that he brings a versatility where he could play defensive end.
What's versatility?
He's versatile. It's plural.
Versatility?
Oh, yeah. That's how you're feeling today?
I'm when I'm overtired, I'm even more spicy than I am usually. Yeah.
Anyways, Malik Jackson is very versatile. He could play defensive end and he could play defensive tackle.
Yeah, but then my thing is, Hector's still there.
No, he's not. They waived him.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, screw me then.
One for me, one for you. There we go. It's tied.
I have more than one. So you got Cox, Hargrave, Jackson, Ridgeway, Rush, Raycon Williams, who's a very highly regarded undrafted free agent.
Wait, Rush is still on the team?
According to this depth chart.
Okay.
I'm looking at maybe it's not updated. It says he's still on the team.
Okay.
So you add McGill to them, that's 6 defensive tackles. So maybe they're just gonna stash Williams on the practice squad.
Yeah, he's a rookie, if I'm not mistaken, right?
So I mean, it's I think Malik Jackson's stock to go back to him, just for your sanity. His stock is to the moon.
He's been dominating, apparently.
He had 3 sacks a couple days ago on the offensive line. A rejuvenated Malik Jackson is scary. It's absolutely scary.
And we haven't seen him paired with Javon Hargrave yet. That's the scary part about it.
Or we really haven't seen him paired with Fletcher Cox. We saw one game. We saw 3 snaps of Malik Jackson last year, and that was it. Malik Jackson is, which is crazy. He's only made 1 Pro Bowl in his career, 7 years, and 2007, which is 2017, he had 8 sacks
when he was with the Jaguars,
and that's when he was at defensive tackle. 8 sacks from defensive tackle. I know we see that from Cox, but if your 2 defensive tackles are getting 8+ sacks each, oh my god! And then you get Hargrave in. Who's I keep forgetting how young he is. He's only 27. And if you get
another 8 sack year from Brandon Graham,
like this defensive line. Let's say each projected starter. Let's make the starters right now. Brandon Graham, Hargrave, Cox, and Malik Jackson pulled out to defensive end. Let's say Derek Barnett's injury is a little more serious than we thought.
Okay.
If they each get their career high in sacks, which for Graham I believe is 9.5. I don't think he's hit 10 yet. For Hargrave it's 6.5. Yes, for Brandon Graham it's 9.5. So 9.5 plus 6.5 is 16.
Okay.
You add in Cox's, I believe his career high is 10 and a half. Yes, 2 years ago, 10 and a half. So that's 26 and a half right there. Add in Jackson's 8. That's 34 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's just from 4 people. Now
You're
you
not counting
add
Ridgeway,
now
Sweat,
you add in Ridgeway, you add in Sweat, who's had a great camp also.
possibly
You add in Barnett,
Vinny Curry.
you add in Curry, and you add in I as much as I clown Sharif Miller, this is true. Tuhill's outworking him. We haven't heard anything about Miller really, but we've heard a lot about Casey Tuhill.
And there's another person we've heard a lot about.
And Joe
Osman.
Osman.
Yeah.
We haven't. Jannard Avery just got helped out of practice. I think
Yeah,
today.
it's a little scary, man.
So we got to go talk to the Footwork King again because his 2 clients for the Eagles so far, except for Slay, Sue Douglas and Jannard Avery. What's going on with them?
It's funny that you mentioned Rasul Douglas because he's actually next on my list.
I don't know. That's how I segue.
It's nice.
It's like segueing into this right now. If you love beer, listen. This beer right now, if you could see, it's not called Donkey Kong. See, it's a monkey. It's a gorilla in a barrel. It's called Cowboy Conky Dong. It's by
It's like I'm looking at twins. I think you could put another point up for me.
No, that's stupid.
What do you mean?
It's from Hoof Hearted Brewing. This is based out in Ohio. They also have a little thing in Connecticut. This is one of the cans you can get. This is a double IPA with some pineapple in there, and this little kick of pineapple in here. One of the beers that you can get at Tavour, Tavour. Tavour is a craft beer, like really good craft beer delivery service, and we say that. We have to be specific. Craft beer, because craft beer is not Bud Light, it's not Miller Lite, it's not piss water.
It's none of the plain stuff.
No, it's not that. And we're Puerto Rican, so we know it's not Corona, and we know it's not Modelo, and we know it's not Dos Equis, and we know it's not that. We know good beer when we see it, and this is good beer. And you can get good beer at Tavour, Tavour. You can find it on Google Play. You can find it on the App Store. When you download it, you'll see that they could press allow on notifications so they can notify you when there's good beer in stock. Go to the app, add it to your cart, send it to yourself. Once you hit $25, well, you'll have to put our promo code in first. FTB, Flippin the Birds, for the beer. Find the beer on Tavour. And number 10, promo code. After you spend $25, you get $10 off your next purchase. If you love beer, which I do, beer, Brian likes it as friends though.
Yeah, it's more of an occasional thing.
They're still courting each other.
Yeah,
beer and me are in a serious relationship.
We're taking our time.
We're in a serious relationship. We are in full honeymoon stage.
You're overly committed.
Trying to make babies. Go there, buy some beer. I would say on us, but we're not buying it for you. But
yeah, definitely not.
Don't try and steal our identity. But we'll at least give you $10 off your next purchase. So go to Tavour.com, order some beer, drink it with us while you're listening, and cheers.
And that's code FTB10, Flippin the Birds 10. So let's talk about Rashad's other client, Rasul Douglas. He trained with the Footwork King over the offseason. He looked a loss against John Hightower and Quez Watkins. He was 7 corners now.
He was the Eagles punching. He was the Eagles punching bag.
Was it Quez or was it Hightower? He looked like he just took way too many steps, like backpedaling. It was Quez, right?
Yeah, Quez burned.
It sucks because if you actually listen to back to like one of our first episodes, we said that we're big fans of Rasul. He's from Jersey. We're from Jersey. It's great to see somebody like that making. You see the potential, but like Jim Schwartz said, they're running out of time. They don't have as much time as they did in previous off seasons.
Like the fact that like we were so high on Rasul, especially like after talking to Rashad.
Yeah, he said CB2. He said CB2 to us.
He was on our podcast. Look, back in June, if you missed it, we had him on our podcast. He was very high on Rashad on Rasul.
Mm-hmm.
He is like CB2. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
starting across Slay. He's been learning from Slay, which Slay said. Slay even said like Rasul's been like pretty much taking
But
him
it
under the
seems
wing.
like, sorry to interrupt you, but it seems like that Slay has actually segued to Maddox instead from what Slay's been talking about.
The fact that Mannix has been CB2 every single day in practice, like you look at the offense, the different formations of wide receivers and running backs, and the offensive line has been shuffled all over the place. Defensive line too. The only consistent in this whole training camp has been Darius Slay on this side and Vontae Maddox on this side and Nicorobi Coleman in the slot. That has been the only constant. You know, even the safeties have been switching around with Kayvon Wallace and Park. Kayvon Wallace has been balling out, and we knew it. We knew he would.
We called it.
You know, and Will Parks has been in there, and McLeod and Mills has been picking off some passes at safety. It seems like Mills has new life at safety.
I love it.
You know, so and Slay actually made a nice comment the other day. I think it was yesterday. That this defense reminds him of his 2014 Detroit Lions defense, and that defense was second in the league. And
did you catch what he said after that though?
No.
So if you could pull up the quote, I don't know if you have it right there in front of you, but if you can, he said afterwards, great defensive line and great young linebackers.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I know. Yeah.
So, are we in for a surprise with the linebacker position this season?
He said,
and I'm sorry if you guys feel like we're all over the place, but we're trying to give you as much as possible as, you know,
there you go.
The time limit that we do have.
He said, Slay said the defense reminds him of 2004, and I'm looking at this from SportsIllustrated.com. Reminds him of the 2014 version of the Lions. Detroit's unit finished second in total defense that season, surrendering just 300.9 yards per game. If you are familiar with the Eagles, and this is just me right now talking, 300.9 yards per game is something the Eagles give up in one half, usually.
Gave it up in the first half of the Super Bowl.
Maybe one quarter, and then depending on the game. So the fact that he's comparing this team to a defense where they surrendered 300, just a little more than 300 yards per game in a game, 4 quarters. That's something. The Lions also finished third in points per game, giving up just 17.6 points per game. If you do not remember, last year Week 1 against the Redskins, or team formerly known as the Redskins, there were 17 points at half. So this team was giving up 17 points in the game. We're not very used to that. While leading the NFL rushing defense, and we're used to that. But this team in 2014, 69.3 rushing yards per game. Just 69 per game. And then he said, you got a great D-line, which we already knew, a great young linebacker corps that can run and stretch the field. You got a good secondary that got great leadership with guys who've been in the league for 8 years. Got guys been in for 4 years. Guys been in for 3. You got great leaders. You got to keep moving forward. We know what it takes. Them boys have been to the Super Bowl. I haven't, so they know what it takes. Me coming from Detroit and feeling that energy they bring to practice and how they approach practice, I look forward to the season, man. I can't wait. Like, for Darius Slay, one of the top cornerbacks in the entire league for the last since 2013. You could debate who's top and who's not, well, whatever. But right now, for him to say that, I know he's not going to say, yeah, we suck or whatever.
Of course not, but for him to really,
but for him to like channel in that team, 2014, that speaks volumes. And I think we're in for a really phenomenal year.
Okay, so before we dissect that a little bit more, Rasul, stock up or stock down?
I think it was stock down until the Sidney Jones injury. However, we see a lot of noise about Michael Jackson, undrafted free agent, who was a cornerback. So right now, it was really Rasul trying to battle Sidney for that CB5 spot. Because CB 1 through 4, you got Slay, you got Maddox, you got Roby Coleman, and you got LeBlanc.
I really hope they give LeBlanc a shot this season because
he'll be backup slot.
He deserves it, man.
Who knows how much he'll actually play because Roby Coleman's a phenomenal slot corner. You got Sewell was trying to fight Sidney for who's going to back up Slay and Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
But right now with Sidney being out, he had that. But then we hear all this about Michael Jacket. And they're like, oh, maybe.
And then the signing of Trevor Williams doesn't.
And then Trevor Williams, who everybody, even including me sometimes, thought Trevor Williams could battle for CB2. Because when he was healthy on the Chargers, he looked good. Really good.
Yes.
He was really good. But that was when he was healthy. So I don't want to say down, but it's kind of down.
I think I'm at a neutral stand right now with Frizzle. I feel like they could use him. I just don't think they need him necessarily if he's gonna be the weakest link right now. So we're down to our last guy.
Hassan Reddick.
Corey Clement making his return once again. Running back 2, running back 3. How do you feel about our Super Bowl hero? He looks good so far. He's been the
yawn. Sorry, I'm tired. I think he and Boston Scott are RB2 and 3. Interchange them however you want. I think right now with the comments from Doug Peterson and Deuce Staley that Miles Sanders, the breaker of chains, finally
the featured back.
He's finally the featured back.
The franchise running back. Let it all out.
First time since Shady. And, he's a Targaryen. He's Daenerys Targaryen, breaker of chains. The shackles of the RBBC, it's gone. So it's gonna really depend on game situation. If you need a little, guy to go out the outside, it's gonna be Boston Scott. If you need someone between the tackles, it's gonna be Corey Clement, or maybe Elijah Holyfield, who's been getting noise,
Raves as well.
Got some noise. But I think Clement has really solidified RB 2 or 3, whatever you want.
So you think they'll just be interchangeable?
I think that the top 3 is Sanders, Scott, Clement. Scott and Clement are going to change depending on the game.
It pretty much doesn't matter when they come.
I think one game, I think right now we're going to see Sanders get 70+% of the snaps each game.
Hmm.
And then you're going to see one game Scott's going to have 10, 15%, and Clement's going to have 10 or 5, whatever. And it's going to change the next game. It's going to change. It's going to be that way. Just to give you an example, last year, and this is just from last year, and I look at this a lot because it says a lot about Doug Peterson's philosophy. Week 1, Miles Sanders had 48%, Jordan Howard had 23%, Darren Sproles had 31%.
Mm-hmm.
2 was Sanders 43, Howard 22, Sproles 35. Week 3, Sanders 34, Howard 33, Sproles 36. Week 4, Sanders 35, Howard 53, Sproles 11. Week 5, Sanders 43, Howard 43, Sproles 15. And then you got week 6, Sanders 29, Howard 63, Scott 6. And all the way to week 8, it was Sanders 18, Howard 73, Scott 12. And then when it was the Miles Sanders show, after Howard went down, it was week 11, week 12, week 13. Sanders was 85%, 84%, 87%. And in those times, week 11, Scott was 19%. Week 12, JJ was 12. Week 13, JJ was 13. And then it went week 14, Miles Sanders 56, Scott 44. Then it went 71%.
Week 14, that's when Sanders came out for the injury.
Yeah, and then went 71% week 15. Boston Scott 45% because we saw a lot of sets where they were both on the field at the same time. Week 16, 82%, 28, and then week 17, I was at that game. It was the Boston Scott show.
Yeah, I think Sanders went down with an injury.
He did. Yeah. So, like, it's going to change. It's going to change, but at least we're probably going to see that
70% Miles Sanders.
Yeah, that week 15 Miles Sanders, 71%. I don't think we'll ever see him hit 90% of snaps. And then you're asking him to play 70%.
Cover the stock watch, right? Miles Sanders, let's just touch upon it. You mentioned it before, we haven't had a feature back since LaShawn McCoy. It's been a rotating door ever since. What are your expectations for Miles Sanders this season? I mean, we haven't had a running back pass 1,000 yards since LaShawn McCoy. DeMarco Murray was never near it. Nobody else.
Don't say DeMarco Murray because I'm still depressed about DeMarco Murray.
I'm very depressed.
He could have been really, really good for us, but Chip Kelly.
I still don't know what Chip Kelly determines north.
He was a north-south.
He ran east to west.
You know what? Chip probably didn't realize north and south meant like this end zone, this end zone. He probably had a compass out, and he probably looked and was like, "Where's
from
north?
Sideline to
where's
sideline.
north? Where's north? Oh, we're looking at north right now." So it's like, "All right, Murray run north," and it ended up being like towards our own end. It was
so depressing to see DeMarco Murray being misused by such an innovative, quote unquote, offense at the time. Like, how do you? I don't. He's in between the tackle runner, and you ran him sideline to sideline. Just made no type of sense.
It's depressing.
But let's talk about something that's not depressing. Miles Sanders.
Here's my bold prediction from my article.
Let's go.
Again, if you ever read it, I hate you. 275 rushing attempts.
Okay.
Which is 17.2 attempts per game. Very realistic. 1,250 yards rushing.
Okay.
78.1 rushing yards per game. Very realistic.
Mm-hmm.
8 rushing touchdowns. 60 receptions. 3.75 receptions per game. So you're giving him 21 touches per game. Very realistic. 650 yards receiving. 40.6 receiving yards per game.
So you have him almost close to 2K.
And 5 receiving touchdowns. So I have him at 1,900 total yards and 13 total touchdowns.
Wow. Just want to say, as a president of the Miles Sanders fan club, I'm very, touched right now. I'm very proud of you.
I don't think people want to call us homers or whatever. I don't think that's too far off. Like to say a feature back is not going to get 17 rushing attempts per game. How? To say that Sanders can't rush for 78 yards per game behind that offensive line, or even and we saw that he was the Eagles' best receiver the whole year last year, aside from Zach Ertz. To say he can't get 3 to 4 receptions per game when the Eagles throw it out to the running back all the time.
Almost all the time, and especially don't forget those screens. They love the screen.
So I think that's very realistic.
I'm very proud of you.
I also added 4.55 yards per carry.
Nice. I think, you know what? That is the perfect way to end the podcast. No slam to Sanders.
I'm the perfect way to end any night.
Listen, man. I have to talk to your wife about that one.
No, don't talk to her. She'll have a different opinion.
But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning into this week's pod. I promise you we're going to work on getting ESP with us, hopefully within the next 2 podcasts, and we'll set something up that you guys will
don't X us out when we say that.
Listen, just trust us.
No matter who, the thing was ESP. We've had our issues with it. I've had my issues with him. He says stupid shit. He knows it. We all know it. He says it. No matter, we look at him. We look at Joe Giglio, who was just on Eagles Brawl, and they did their own thing. You guys still tune into that, even though you hate Giglio. You guys still tune in to listen to Howard Eskin, who's an old shithead. You guys still listen to Cataldi, who's even an older shithead.
I'm pretty sure we had nothing to worry about. Let's just put it like that.
So every asshole has an opinion, and it's usually always shitty, even us. So give people a chance. Don't cancel us because we're about to have ESP on.
I'm personally looking forward to it. I think it'll be a very fun podcast.
It's gonna be a good discussion.
Yeah,
we'll ask him about his baseball skills. I do have a question for him, And if he's so sure he can score an NFL touchdown, I want to know which cornerback he thinks he can do it on.
I'm not going to answer that question right now.
It's probably Ronald Darby. I'll probably answer it for it.
I think that's everybody. Everybody love a piece of Ronald Darby.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. We're looking forward to what's to come next week. We'll keep you guys updated throughout the week as to what's going to happen next week. And don't forget, manscaped.com, 20% off. Use code FTB Tavoy, the application. Code FTB10 for $10 credit.
Guys,
I'm sorry that you guys couldn't hear Chris's romantic Manscaped commercial today.
It's been hot out there.
Oh, my God.
It has been hot. Like, I stepped out the door today, and I was stripped.
It was disgusting outside.
It was disgusting. The last few days have been disgusting outside. But you know what comes with that? Chafing in your balls. Like, that gets sticky down there. So manscaped.com, they have fantastic ball deodorant that it's anti-chafing. It's fantastic. I'm a phys ed teacher. I'm ready to go. My school is making me teach outside every single day. You know for a fact I'm throwing that crap on down there. To make sure that when I'm walking outside and sweating my ass off, my thighs and they're not sticking to my ball sack. All right,
guys, if you guys don't buy it for yourselves, please donate to Chris's cause. Whatever you can.
No more sticky sacks.
Use code FTB at manscaped.com.
If I become president, that's going to be my slogan. No more sticky sacks.
Until next week, I'm Brian Cameron. He's Chris Alfonse. This is Flippin' the Birds.
Go Birds.
Yes, sir. No more sticky sacks.